All right, this is the new iPad mini 7. It's basically a small version of the iPad Air, more powerful than the standard iPad, but way less pro than the Pro, and somehow it's one of the most compelling tablets Apple has made this year, at least for me. From double the storage to a fixed display issue that haunted its predecessor, this new mini packs a lot more punch than you might expect. So today I'm breaking down the top 7 new features that make the iPad mini 7th generation a potential must-have. And stick around to the end because there are a couple of interesting tweaks that might just make some users think twice. Let's get into it. First, Apple just doubled the storage capacity on the iPad mini 7th generation. It now starts at 128 gigabytes instead of 64, and it now tops out at 512 gigs instead of 256. This is a significant leap for the iPad mini lineup, and I think it shows Apple's commitment to making sure that even their smallest tablet doesn't run out of steam when it comes to space. And what's wild is they did this without changing the price. So for those of you who love to load up on apps or movies or just big creative files, this iPad makes a lot of sense. More storage means more freedom, whether you're downloading an entire season of your favorite show or backing up tons of raw photos. The Mini 7 has your back. But the new specs aren't just focused on storage. Apple has also doubled the RAM in the iPad mini from 4 gigabytes to 8 gigabytes. Now, this might not sound as flashy as a camera or display upgrade, but let me tell you, this kind of memory bump transforms how this device handles multitasking. More apps stay open in the background, there are fewer refreshes, and that means a smoother, more fluid experience overall. Think about flipping between a graphics app, multiple Safari tabs, and maybe even a game. And the new iPad mini can do that all without breaking a sweat. Plus, for a device that's already so portable, getting all this extra oomph is a big deal. The extra RAM is keeping more apps running, but it's also about efficiency, smoothness, and ensuring that the iPad mini is ready for all the latest apps and features for years to come. And that RAM also means that the iPad mini now supports the next feature on the list, Apple Intelligence. Now, it's important to note that these experiences are currently available as a preview, and I've been testing them using a beta version of iPadOS 18.1, but it'll be released next week, so you'll be able to try it for yourself. Now, one of the standout additions here is the new system-wide writing tools, which are designed to help users feel more confident in their writing. Whether you're drafting an email or a social post, or just taking notes, these tools are integrated almost everywhere you can type, including in most third-party apps. It can be helpful for those moments when you know what you want to say but aren't quite sure how to say it. Writing Tools also provides smart proofreading, suggesting grammar fixes, word choice improvements, and even reworking sentence structure. And it doesn't just flag mistakes, it actually helps you learn by providing explanations for the changes it's suggesting, which is great for improving your skills over time. Then there's Summarize, which is great if you deal with a lot of long content. Select a chunk of text or an entire article, an email thread, meeting notes, etc., and generate a quick summary that gets to the core points. Now, I personally haven't found a lot of use for the writing tools so far. I usually know what I want to say and how I want to say it, and I don't struggle when it comes to writing. However, for those who do, I imagine it's going to be a nice feature to have included. Apple Intelligence also extends to Siri, which gets a sleek new design in iPadOS 18.1, which lets you keep navigating while your device is making requests. Siri is more resilient too, meaning that even if you stumble over your words or change your mind mid-command, Siri will adapt on the fly. Oh, and you can even now type to Siri, so if you're in a quiet setting or just don't feel comfortable speaking out loud, just double tap the bar at the bottom of the screen and Siri will be ready for text input. Now, my favorite feature in this initial Apple Intelligence suite has to be the smart summaries for both mail and notifications. The way it surfaces high priority information and provides quick summaries without diving deep into every message or notification, it's just amazing for productivity, and sometimes it can just be entertaining. In the Mail app in particular, you get summaries of your emails before actually tapping in to read them. So rather than seeing the first 2 or 3 lines of the actual email itself, in its place you can have an AI generated summary of that email so you know at a glance if it's something you need to take care of right away. This really helps cut through the noise and lets me focus on what's truly important, whether it's in my inbox or again, in a cluster of notifications on the lock screen. All right, next, let's talk performance. The A17 Pro chip. This is the same chip found in the iPhone 15 Pro series, but with one fewer graphics core, and it's a beast. We're talking a 30% boost in CPU performance and a 25% bump in GPU compared to the previous iPad mini. There's even hardware accelerated ray tracing now on the iPad mini, which is 4 times faster than the software-based equivalent on the iPad mini 6th gen. So whether you're into gaming or editing photos, this chip gives the iPad mini a serious performance uplift. Geekbench scores put it way ahead of the A15 Bionic from the last model, with the multi-core score jumping from 5370 to 7135. All right, one of the biggest complaints about the iPad mini 6 was that notorious jelly scroll effect. If you're unaware, it's that wobble you get when scrolling vertically in portrait mode, and if you noticed it, it wasn't a great experience. Well, Apple fixed it. They updated the display hardware on the Mini 7, and the result, scrolling is now buttery smooth, or as smooth as you can expect from a 60 Hertz display at least. No more wonky text movement, just nice, clean responsiveness. It's a small tweak, but honestly, it makes a massive difference if you've ever tried to read a long article or scan through a document and find yourself getting annoyed by that distracting wobble. That's what makes this fix a huge deal. It's all about making the experience seamless, exactly what Apple is known for. All right, next we've got an upgrade that makes a difference if you're working or streaming on the go, that being Wi-Fi 6E. The new iPad mini has faster, more stable connectivity, especially in congested environments. Wi-Fi 6E extends into the 6 gigahertz band, which offers significantly less interference compared to the 2.4 and 5 gigahertz bands used by Wi-Fi 6. This means you get faster data rates, more reliable connections, and a lot more bandwidth to handle multiple devices without congestion. No one likes laggy FaceTime calls or buffering when you're watching content, and with this upgrade, you're covered. It's the kind of invisible upgrade that you don't think about much until you're stuck with slow internet, and then it suddenly matters a lot. Now, in order to take advantage of these new speeds though, you will need a router that supports Wi-Fi 6E or Wi-Fi 7. Next, for all my creators out there, Apple Pencil Pro support is here. This makes the iPad mini an even more creative tool than the previous generation with hover support, tilt sensitivity, and haptic feedback. The Pencil Pro is all about giving you that feeling of total control, almost like you're drawing on real paper, but with all the advantages of digital. You're getting undo, layers, different brushes, etc. And if you're an artist, the mini might just become your go-to sketch pad. The responsiveness of the Apple Pencil Pro on the display is incredible. You can feel the difference as you move the pencil, whether you're sketching, shading, or annotating documents. And let's not forget the added benefit of hover, where you can preview your strokes before committing to them. This is next level precision, and it makes the creative process smoother, more enjoyable, and even more accurate. Artists, students, and note takers alike will find that this mini, paired with the Apple Pencil Pro, is capable of far more than you probably expected from the small tablet. All right, now there are a couple of changes you might not like that you should be aware of. First, the physical SIM card slot, gone. We are now fully on eSIM with the iPad mini, similar to the iPhone here in the United States. Now, while this move simplifies the design and reduces clutter, it's not necessarily ideal for everyone, especially travelers who rely on swapping SIM cards where they land. It's a change that has pros and cons, and it may take some getting used to for those who prefer having a physical option. Second, the Apple Pencil 2 is no longer supported. Apple is making a push towards the Apple Pencil Pro or the USB-C pencil, both of which are supported here. The removal of Apple Pencil 2 support may be disappointing for those who already own one, as they now need to upgrade to a newer Apple Pencil to use with the new iPad mini. The iPad mini 7th gen will be available starting this Friday, and you can pick it up in one of 4 colors. They've got space gray, purple, starlight, and this blue one right here. These are the same colors as the recently released iPad Air with the M2 chip. And you can pick up the iPad mini 7th gen starting at $499. Thanks for watching as always, guys. I appreciate your support. I'm Andrew Webbers, and I will catch you in the next video.